I got the cats in here. Yeah. Stop it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the cats are in here. It's all right. Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you something. Fine. I want to test the sound. Oh, actually, can you go on for like a minute so I can test the sound on like this one video? Oh, really? Okay. Oh, okay. See if I can test it on here. Get out of here. Bye-bye. I wanted to see if the sound will come up because it wasn't working before. Well, I'm using the one on here. And when I plug mine in, it doesn't like recognize it. I hate to use the webcam, but it's like, well, I've played with this for hours. So if there's an issue, I'll just end it. It's okay. I'm not going to torture anybody. Source. No, you're not. TikTok. Alright, let's see if this works. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Would you come on? You're like in my face.
Her daughter was sleeping on her bed.
Oh, it's working.
When this happened. A mother by the name Ari explains that her daughter has been waking up in the middle of the night, frantically screaming in fear.
All right, come on. I don't want people to be like, oh, what the hell is this? It's a joke.
What's the matter?
I just want to sleep with you now.
Saying that an evil man has been watching her.
All right, come on. I don't want people. All right, I'm talking. All right, it works. Cool, cool, cool. Nobody. Now let me check YouTube because I have that video. Let's play this. And then.
Some crazy sounds in here. Woo! Welcome to Arcade.
With this plugin, you could make sounds that nobody else is making.
Okay, so this is my first live, so I apologize if anything goes wrong, any noise issues, like, anything like that, because I haven't done this before. So, I do have some Reddit stories that I was given permission to read, so I do have those. And I wanted to play some scary videos too. I just don't want to get in trouble, any copyright issues. But I do have some like TikTok that I put together in a video. And then I figured maybe go on YouTube. There's like some channels that I like to watch. Like one's like a ghost hunting channel. I believe he's in Asia. He speaks Chinese, so of course I can't understand him, but he like yells. He like yells a lot. Um, so I think that's like a thing that they do. I heard that like Chinese people they like yell when they see like a ghost. I think it like scares the ghost or something. So there's that, and then there's like a few other channels I'll like show. So let me go to the Reddit stories, and I'll just do those first. Just kind of knock those out. I kind of like the Reddit stories. I always go to like the true scary stories. I mean, of course, I don't know if they're really true. Some people make up stories, I know. But I like going through them anyway and kind of doing videos on those where I read them. Um, so I can get started on that. Actually, this first one, this isn't from Reddit. I found this online, and there wasn't a lot of information on this story. I'm not sure why, because it's pretty creepy. So I'm kind of surprised nobody really looked into it more. But this one takes place in South Africa in a hospital. Actually, it's two different hospitals. So the first one is two patients checked into a hospital for routine treatment, yet mysteriously they vanished from their rooms without a trace. Days later, their bodies were discovered in hidden parts of the hospital where they never should have been. So I'm not sure how that happens with nobody noticing, but I guess it happened. So it raises, some questions like how can these two guys just simply disappear from a place meant to heal and protect? How do they end up in completely different secluded areas of the hospital, unnoticed by anybody, staff, nurses, anybody? So the baffling circumstances of their disappearances and the eerie locations where they were found just really leaves more questions than answers. And like I said, I checked online, I couldn't find any more information than what I have here. So the first one on October 5th, 2017. I hope I pronounced their names right. It's Tik Gatsi underwent abdominal surgery and was eventually placed in the recovery room at Stellenbosch Hospital in the town bearing the same name in South Africa. Initially, his recovery seemed to be progressing well, but it took a shocking turn when he suddenly disappeared from his bed just moments after a nurse had checked on him. 13 days later, his lifeless body was discovered in a secluded area of the hospital ceiling. How? Despite thorough investigations and an autopsy, the mystery surrounding his disappearance and death remains unsolved. So Gotzi resided in the suburb of Kayamandi in Stellenbosch, South Africa. He was 61 years old, and he was a father of 6, and he was admitted for abdominal surgery. And after his procedure, he was moved to a ward to recover, with a nurse attending to him. The nurse had briefly left his room to get some fresh linen, and in that short span he vanished without a trace. According to his brother, Christmas Kethwane, his surgery should have rendered him unable to walk, making his sudden disappearance even more perplexing. So the hospital did not inform the family immediately. Instead, they conducted, their own little search for 2 days. Didn't say anything. And on October 7th, the hospital called Gotzi's family, inquiring if he was at home. Confused and concerned, the family member who answered insisted he was in the hospital. When the staff mentioned he had left, his family rushed to the hospital, frantically searching for him to just no avail. The nurse last saw Gotzi at 5:15 a.m., and the following day, the family returned with police to investigate, but their efforts just were fruitless. It wasn't until October 20th that workers renovating the hospital discovered his body in an isolated ceiling area. How he ended up there makes no sense. And then on October 27th, the hospital contacted the family again to discuss the findings and the ongoing investigation. Kethwane, struggling with the burial costs in the Eastern Cape, expressed the family's expectation that Tatiki would be safe in the hospital. A reasonable assumption under the circumstances, of course. So then another source, citing the article published on October 30th, reported that the hospital had performed an autopsy on his body. The autopsy results indicated that his death was not due to complications from his surgery, nor did it appear to be from natural causes. It was suggested that he was already deceased when placed in the ceiling. The hospital awaited further autopsy results and local police took over the investigation. Some researchers have posited that Tatike was murdered, arguing that this is the most plausible explanation. I mean, that makes sense. However, this story raises questions given the nurse's brief absence and the lack of any signs of a struggle. So the website Mysterious Universe speculated about teleportation as an explanation, but this theory remains contentious. I don't know about that. It's a little far out there. So the case of Ghazi continues to perplex investigators and his family, leaving the lingering question, what happened to him? So what do you think happened to this guy? I don't think he was teleported. I don't know. I know anything is possible, but it sounds to me like, yeah, maybe he was murdered, but how can somebody move him so quickly up into the ceiling like nobody noticed? It doesn't make sense. And then now, similar thing happened to somebody else. His name, and again, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Sandili Sabaya. On May 10th, 2019, Sandili Sabaya, suffering from a broken femur, was admitted to Durban's Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Hospital, and just days later, as plans were being made to transfer him to Addington Hospital for specialized orthopedic care, he was a resident of Amatodi, and he also just vanished. No explanation. The KwaZulu-Natal Department of Health reported that security personnel searched the hospital extensively, but their efforts yielded no clues. With no other options, the staff reported Sabaya as a missing person to the South African Police Service. The breakthrough came when someone noticed a suspicious leak near a hospital storeroom. Ugh, that sounds terrible. The newly appointed KZN Health MEC, oh boy, it's another name, so hard to, I don't want to butcher people's names. Nomagugu Simalane Zulu shared details of the troubling discovery in one of her first public statements. As first, the stench in the hospital room became unbearable. Ugh. It eventually led us to the storeroom where fluid dripping from the ceiling suggested something was terribly wrong. Ugh, I can't imagine. And then she continued on. The search culminated in the finding of a decomposed body. Contrary to some early media reports, which inaccurately labeled Sabaya as a mental health patient, the health department clarified that he was not. He had a broken femur. Of course not. This revelation has sparked urgent questions about how a seemingly healthy man with a broken leg and a builder by profession ended up dead above the hospital ceiling panels. Oh, that's just awful. And then state forensic services were tasked with conducting an autopsy on Sabaya's body with a report to be provided to his family. And during that time, the health department was preparing to release its preliminary findings on the incident. The police had also launched an investigation to uncover the truth behind this disturbing case. What do you think happened to these two men? Teleportation? Murder? It's very odd to think they just got up in the ceiling, like someone just put them there. How? What happened to them? It doesn't make sense. So let me know your thoughts. And then I'll get into these Reddit stories now. So there's 2 or 3 from the same person. The user is Coyote13MC. And the first one is called Ghost Story in Washington, D.C. Now, I didn't read these beforehand, and sometimes there's like grammar mistakes, so just bear with me. So this one starts. So this happened a few years ago. When I lived in Washington, D.C., I just moved into my friend's place, a small old house near the city center. It had a basement where a band would practice, a ground floor with living room and kitchen, and upstairs with 3 bedrooms. But again, very small place. The other 2 roommates were a couple, and a few months after I moved in, the woman, let's call her A, announced she was pregnant. And almost immediately after that, weird stuff started to happen. One of the first things was both together and individually. We started to think we heard footsteps upstairs and coming down the stairs. We lived near a hood that had lots of crime and crack problems, and the city was going through a bad crime period at the time. So the possibility of someone breaking into the house was very real. But this never seemed to be the case. Over a period of weeks, this increased to almost nightly, until we started to think we saw a figure. We all saw it alone, but the same thing. What looked like a young woman with maybe old clothes. At this point, we're all mostly laughing about it because it seemed so typical and we didn't feel afraid at all. I probably would be though. But then one night, when me and M, the other roommate and the partner of A, were out at another band practice, when A called us in a panic. She was home alone. And she said it sounded like someone was in the basement throwing things around. Oh gosh. She thought someone had broken in and called the police. She thought someone had broken in and called the police, and we raced home, which was about 45 minutes away. Police came and found nothing. Everything was okay, of course, right? Downstairs, and no windows or doors were open, but we all thought of the ghostly things that we had been having and how this seemed to be it. Definitely an escalation. The sounds of walking, seeing a strange figure, and the noises in the basement continued, but soon we thought that A seemed to be having more experiences. Another thing that happened was that once A and M were in bed, they saw a red ball fly from one wall into the other. Not too creepy. This scared the crap out of them, and I was not home when it happened though. And we also each had one or two times when it felt like something tapped our shoulders behind. A side note here, Am and myself were atheists and very skeptical people, while A grew up in the South and was very superstitious and spiritual but not religious. I'm only laughing because my husband had similar experiences, but he would, long story, but we were in the he was in the living room in our house, and he thought it was me coming up from behind, but he felt someone like tap his butt, which was kind of funny. But we have more experiences from the past, just like playful ghosts, I guess. But thankfully, it leaves me alone. It bothers him, so I'm good. So continuing with the story, so everything just kept on slowly getting more and more. Unfortunately, A had discovered that she was having twins, but that both were extremely weak and small, and would most likely be born very premature, which kind of added a ladder of anxiety and sadness over everything. And then had the idea to go to a psychic, whom at the time I was very anti and really didn't want to go. But we all did. She told us that the ghosts were spirits that were not sure if they wanted to come into this world again. She believed in reincarnation. So do I. I didn't pay attention to any of it because I just was not a believer in that stuff, although the strange haunting type stuff was starting to get to me. Then I had a personal worst experience. M and A had gone for the night to M's parents' house, and I was there alone. It was about sundown, and the noises of things being thrown around started in the basement, and the power went out. Oh, that sucks. I was like, F that. Called some friends that lived a few blocks away and asked if I could come over right away. So I did. Walked over, walk up the 4 flights of stairs. They opened the apartment door, and the power went out, along with the 2 large paintings hanging on the wall, falling. It's weird. This part I never believed if someone else had told me that it happened. Now I was completely in panic mode, thinking that whatever this had maybe followed me. Probably did. Anyway, I asked to spend the night, and nothing else happened until the middle of the night when we could all hear someone walking back and forth down the street, whistling. There were plenty of addicts and criminals in this neighborhood, so it could have been that. We looked, though, from the window and couldn't see anyone. That's creepy. Imagine someone, like a ghost, just whistling up and down your road. No thanks. So we were all very scared. All these things kept happening. And then one night, A had to rush to the hospital. After a very dangerous few hours where losing the babies were really possible, she finally gave birth. They were not healthy and to stay in the hospital for a few months, if I remember correctly. And when they got to come home, they each had an oxygen tank. Oh, jeez. Were sickly for the first year. But all of the weird ghostly stuff stopped happening. Everything. I have only had a few weird things happen in my life and still am super skeptical towards a lot of things, but this I was never able to explain away. Anyway, it was crazy, crazy, crazy. It sounds crazy, crazy, crazy. So what do you think? Like I said, we've had stuff happen to us too. I mean, I've never Well, I didn't start like experiencing things until we lived in Georgia. So we're talking 2008 to 2010. Before that, this is when I met my now husband, boyfriend at the time, Mike, his name is. We met in 2008. We moved to Georgia in 2008. That's when I started having those experiences where I was like seeing like shadows, like hearing noises. He gets it a lot. Whatever, I think there's something that follows him because it happened in Georgia. We're in Florida now, and it happened we lived in a condo, house, apartment, like, a few places it's happened. But for me, what was creepy when we lived in Georgia, I think it was around 2009, 2010. It was a one-bedroom apartment. We're on the bottom floor. There was 2 levels, I believe. And I remember he would go to work at like 4 a.m. and I'd be in bed. I wouldn't go to work till a few hours later. So what happened was he left for work. I was in the bedroom watching like a movie. I swear I heard the door unlock, the front door unlock. So he walk in, shut, lock the door, keys on the counter, sink turn on. He wasn't in the apartment. I don't know. I felt like no, it sounded like it was in our apartment. It didn't sound upstairs. It was in our apartment. And I laid there waiting. I'm like, is he gonna come in the room? Like, just waiting. Nope. And finally, after about 20 minutes, I walked out. Nothing. Nobody was there. And then like same apartment. I remember I'd be facing like the TV like this way, and then we had the kitchen like over here. I swear, I don't know how many times at the corner of my eye when I'm looking straight, there'd be like something moving back and forth, something like shadow move back fast. No idea. So weird. And he had a bunch of experiences, but I'm not gonna get into all that. But just I totally believe in this stuff. I'm very like open minded to it. I don't want to experience it, but I'm very open to like all that stuff. I anything is possible out there. Anything. All right. So the next story is called "Creepy Mist Wraps the House." This is the same. It's the same user. Creepy. Is this the same guy? Oh no, this is a different person. Sorry. So this is from user Creepy Cryptid 1969. So I lived in southern New Hampshire in a home set in the middle of the woods on a small mountain. My oldest son came to visit for a weekend. We decided to watch a movie in the late afternoon after I put my 2 youngest down for a nap. We decided to watch the movie The 13th Warrior. There is a section of the movie where a fog or mist starts to travel from the mountains into the village where supposed mystical bearmen would attack the villagers. Just as the mist was encompassing the village, we noticed a fog coming out of the woods and starting to surround our home. Then the TV shut off. The electricity shut off. We went around shutting the windows to keep the fog out. We had never experienced this before or since. The fog came up to the windows. My husband called the neighbor above us, and there was no fog up there, and they never saw it coming our way. Our neighbor got in his truck and came down because he did not believe it was surrounding our house. He drove by and then went back to his home. He called my husband back and told him that the fog was only around our home. The electricity was only off at our house. We were kind of freaked out. The fog stayed for about 15 to 20 minutes, and suddenly we saw the fog retreat slowly back into the woods, and suddenly the TV went on. We all jumped and laughed nervously. Needless to say, we waited till the next day to watch the movie. It sounds kind of like the movie The Fog, or is it The Mist? I usually confuse those two. One of them has like the fog that comes from like the ocean, sea, whatever, and it like covers like the house and gets like in the house, and then those like ghosts start killing people. So it sounds familiar. So the next story, same user, Creepy Cryptid 1969. The story of haunted items in my secondhand store. So I owned a secondhand store in Pennacook, New Hampshire, and used to bring my white lab mix with me to work. She was sweet and loved everyone. I used to take in consignments here and there. An elderly gentleman came into my store and asked if I'd be willing to have an antique spinning wheel that his deceased wife bought at auction from a warehouse in town that was being renovated years before, so I agreed. He returned about a week later with the spinning wheel and set it up in front of the store where you could see it from the large front windows. My store was a mini mall, sandwiched between a Subway and a hairdresser, so there was all kinds of traffic in front of my store, day and night until Subway closed. It was probably a few weeks later, and I unlocked the store door and walked in to turn off the alarm. My dog walked in and stopped in front of the spinning wheel. She looked at it, cocking her head from side to side, then wagged her tail. I noticed and watched her. Suddenly the spinning wheel started to move. I did not think that much of it at first because I figured that was from the wind from the door coming in. I called for my dog so I can get her in the back room. It was an uneventful day until one of the employees came into my store in the late afternoon. I knew her from ordering my subs and waved to each other when she went on duty. She asked me if I had AC on last night. I did not. It was the start of autumn and there should not have been any circulation of air in the store. I asked why. She told me that a customer came in and asked if my store was haunted. I thought that was odd. She said the customer saw a lady sitting at the spinning wheel and the wheel was moving fast as if it was spinning yarn. The subway employee just chuckled when she told me this and said she did not want to be late for her shift and left. I chuckled to myself and went about my business. To be honest, I was thinking that it would not be surprising since my store made up was made up of pre-owned items. Time went by and I completely forgot about the conversation until the next morning. I went into the store as usual and my dog stopped at the spinning wheel and again the wheel started spinning. It was kind of comforting knowing that a woman was still attached to her beloved spinning wheel, but that comfort was short-lived. I had a busy week of going out and purchasing new items for my store and did not pay any attention to really anything but buying, selling, and rearranging the store for the new items. I needed to finish up some paperwork and the displays, so I came back to work after my son was asleep to finish. That is when odd things started to happen. Both of the stores on each side of me were closed and no one but my car was in the parking lot. I was into the door located on the loading dock when I heard it. It sounded as if there were a room full of people chatting and laughing. I crept into the showroom and the noise stopped. I thought maybe someone was at the hairdresser or subway and just disregarded it. I proceeded to the office and the evening security lights were plenty to see but by so I never turned on the full lights in the store. I sat down at the desk and started to pull out the files when it happened again. My office could see into the showroom and there was no one in there. I got up and walked into the showroom. It was happening all around me. It was loud but joyful. It was like different entities that were attached to the second-hand items were having a party. It was more funny than scary. That's pretty cool. There was a knock at the loading dock door. The merriment ended. I went to answer the door and it was a friend delivering a desk that I had purchased from a flea market a few days prior. I helped him bring it in and had the perfect spot for it. We moved a few things around and I placed it with an old repurposed chair that I had picked up at a garage sale a few months back. I had been waiting for the best piece to pair it with. I walked my friend out and we talked for a while at his truck about a flea market I wanted to visit and needed an extra pair of hands that I would pay him for this time. I entered the store and it was eerily quiet. The chair was not in the same place as the desk. I thought I forgot to put it at the desk. Shaking my head and mumbled that I must be tired, I put the chair back and headed to the office. No sooner than I sat down, I heard something fall. I went into the showroom and the chair was knocked over and a bit away from the desk. Then I heard it. It started low and I had to strain my ears to hear it, but it sounded like an argument. I could not make out the words, but it was a male's voice and another male's voice. Then it got louder and louder. I grabbed the chair to pick it up when the roll top of the desk slammed down. I was in shock. I told myself to be calm. I grabbed the chair, put it back where it was originally, and went into the back room. I found another chair, and this is weird, but I asked it nicely if it would mind being paired up with the desk. Hoping it was fine, I proceeded back to the desk. I said to the desk if it would mind if I paired this chair with it. Nothing. So I slowly put the chair up to the desk and backed away. Nothing. I decided it was too late to work on paperwork and left the store. After that, I changed how I approached the pairings in the store. So you guys believe that? I do. I guess, we become attached to things and we die. And I believe in haunted items. There's like too many stories that I've read or even seen like little horror videos about it. I believe it. So the last one is creepy experiences at a resident facility. Same user, Creepy Cryptid 1969. So either this person has like a lot of scary experiences or these are made up. I don't know. I'd be like a little worried if I had like story after story, but I guess I do. Like I said, my husband has experiences. So I work as a licensed nursing assistant for this nice resident facility in Concord, New Hampshire. The first year I worked there, I volunteered to work a night shift after a long day shift because we were short-staffed. After all the residents went to bed, all the LNAs gathered in the floor lounge to get our books done and up to date. We were in there for quite a while when a light went off at the end of the hall. Knowing this resident most likely needed the restroom, I rushed to her side. When I entered, I saw a black floating mist above her. She was hysterical, pointing to the mist and saying it was here to get her. I am not a religious person, but wanted to calm her, and I knew I could not acknowledge the mist above her. It is not unusual for these kind of strange things to happen in these types of facilities. I turned off the light and held her hand. We prayed. The mist vanished. I calmed her down and stayed with her until she went back to sleep. I creeped out of her room and went back to the lounge. I reported what I saw to the others, but we cannot report it in our books. I found out that this mist had been seen in several rooms on the night shift for weeks. Another experience, I was working with a night shift LNA that volunteered to work the day shift on my floor. I was friends with him outside of work as we were both writers. It was getting to the end of our shift and we had brought our residents to the bathroom and readied them for activities that took place in the basement where most of the administration was located. The other LNA and I brought our last residents to the activity and we were walking back to the elevator. We were not walking the stairs even though it was just one flight up. It was a long day. We saw someone walk out of the bathroom ahead of us and went around the corner to the elevator. I hollered, "Hold that elevator!" We were only seconds behind. We turned the corner, but no one was there. The other LNA and I just looked at each other. There was no place that this person could have gone. It was a dead end. I asked if I was going crazy. Did you see that person? The other LNA agreed. Where did they go? It took forever for these elevators to go from floor to floor, and this time of day, there were tons of visitors and the change of shifts. The elevators would take longer to get back down to the basement. One of the residents turned 100 years old, and she had called me in to read a letter she received from the President of the United States, George W. Bush Jr., at the time. I had a few days off from work. When I returned, I had heard the awful news that she left us in her sleep. The nurse on duty on that floor in our staff meeting read a note that her alarm light kept going off. Just then, the panel showed a light going off in that room. I thought it was the roommate. I volunteered to see what she needed. If you guys hear digging, that's my cat in the litter box. Sorry. So I entered the room, and the roommate was nowhere to be found. The light was coming from the empty bed of the resident that passed. I shut it off, thinking it was just a fluke. After that, it seemed to keep going off minutes after you shut it off. I volunteered to go to the empty top floor where we kept the extra supplies to get a new plug. I came back down and replaced the plug. Before I left the room, the light went off again. I removed the plug but forgot the failsafe that if you remove the plug for any length of time, the light would go off. Just then I asked the nurse, "Did anyone leave the window open after she passed?" The nurse looked at the note and said, "Nope, no one did that." It was not unusual that after a passing in a residential facility you open the window. It is the belief that it allows the spirit of the deceased to escape. I've heard of that. I reattached the plug and opened the window. At the end of my shift, I closed it. The light never went off for the rest of my shift after I opened the window. The next day, there were no reports of that light going off. Okay, creepy. No, I believe it. I've heard that saying too, that, yeah, if you open the window, well, that's like the soul go free, can move on. So, I don't know, do you guys believe those stories? So, I do. I mean, like I said, you never know if these stories are true or not. Some people make up stories and they post it on like the true scary stories. I mean, I get it. So, I want to play some scary videos. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. Because I'm not like stealing it. I just want to play them. But there's a few channels, like I said, I enjoy watching. Let me pull one up. Let me see. Okay. Hopefully this won't be too loud. Maybe lower it just in case a little bit. Alright, so this channel here, actually I can show it. Let me pull it up. Here it is. Horror Xiaolong. Let me play this. So he's a ghost hunter, so he posts ghost hunting videos. I think he does live streams too. I think he like goes over his own videos. But his are usually pretty good. Let's play. Hopefully you hear this just fine.
我操，挺吓人的。我操！
Imagine a platform that allows you to elevate your customer's experience and at the same time reduce your.
There you go.
Hello， 老不老？嗯。挂号。医生夜班事儿。是。Hello， 还有槟榔呢。哎呦我操！哎呦我去！哎呦我，阴不？Hello， 我操，这太恶心了，这是不进了，真他妈埋汰。Hello girl, let me see. I want to look. 我告诉你，这屋里头绝对有问题，只是时间没到。哎呦我操你妈逼！吓我一跳！你妈了个逼！你给我吓一蹦子！操你妈！你讲不讲道理？我他妈咋的你了？我鸡皮疙瘩出来了，有人吗？锁上的。
Just want to say real quick, this video is like 30 minutes, as you can see. I don't have to play the whole thing in case you get bored. So I wanted to show like other stuff too, but I'll play it for like a few more minutes.
我操他妈！这有烧纸这地方，手术室，你不觉得这个东西很恐怖吗？ Hello 啊。今儿你他妈谁敢他妈跟我俩挑战一下，我他妈哪里先开刀？我把你全拉死！
I'll just stop that one right here. Just like I said, I don't want to get any trouble with copyright or anything. But like I said, his channel, let me see if I can show it in case you're interested. Right there. That's if you want to check it out. I discovered him on Nuke's Top 5. He played him like a few times. But it's funny because he gets scared and he screams. But I think it's a thing where it like scares the ghosts or something. There's like a reason for that, but he's pretty good. Let me try to find these other channels I'm gonna show. Let me go back. There's one that hasn't posted anything in a couple months. I'm not sure why, because they have good stuff. Social House Films. And their videos are shorter. They're not 30 minutes. So like, let's see. Get some creepy one. Hold on. So it's been a while since they did it. Yeah, let's try this one.
Boost your revenue and drive growth with Google Ads. Reach high-value customers across the
Jeez.
Slasher uses your own surroundings to create a terrifying, augmented reality experience. You'll solve riddles and follow clues to hunt down killers living within your very walls. Let's begin. Go on. You feel safe in your own home, don't you? Go on. Faster. Keep going. Can I give you a hand? That's what I call great handiwork. Now that you've got the hang of it, let's release your very first killer. Oh my. Sounds like something quite awful's just been unleashed. Where could it be? You'll need tools to help you along your quest. Solve riddles along the way to build your toolkit. Let us begin.
Hello?
What is the worst way to die? Don't be afraid. What is the worst way to die?
Being murdered.
You'll need to be more specific.
Being chopped to death by an axe murderer.
Quite good. That does sound like a most terrifying way to perish. Did you know that there is a very real axe murderer in your neighborhood? No. He knows you live alone at 1224 Carlton Way. Don't be scared. We just want to play. Maybe we'll come play tonight after you've fallen asleep on your couch in that little black dress.
Hi, I want to report a game in your collection. It's called Slasher.
Okay, what's going on?
The game is threatening. It knows things about me, like my address.
That's odd. This is one of our games?
Yes.
Okay, just bear with me one moment while I pull this up. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but we don't have a record of a game by that name in our catalog.
What do you mean you don't have a record?
It is possible we're still in beta, and you were randomly selected as one of our testers. Unfortunately, I don't have any more information on that, so I think the best thing you can do is, if I were you, I would simply just try deleting the game and then reinstalling the moment.
Hello? I can't hear you. I think there's someone in my house.
It's too late now. Once the Axeman is released, you'll need to finish him, or else he'll finish you.
I see you've been spotted by the Axeman. My, a most terrifying chap, is he not?
Quit. End game. I want to quit.
One simply cannot quit when a deranged axe murderer is on the loose. Now, would you like to answer another riddle? It is the only way to lock the door.
Yes.
You try to beat me. You try in vain. And when I win, I end the pain. What am I?
When I win, I end the pain.
You better hurry.
Try to beat me, try in vain.
Faster.
When I win, I end the pain. Death. Death is what you are.
Very good. I knew you had it in you. Loading level 2, Expert Plus.
So obviously that's not a true story, but they've made some like I've enjoyed their videos. I've discovered them. I don't know if you guys heard of Corey X Kenshin. He's a big gamer, but he has like 20 million subscribers almost, and he would do spooky, scary Sundays, and he would play like scary videos that people recommend on TikTok. So that's how I found them. So it's Social House Films is their channel. I don't think they've posted anything recently, maybe a trailer, but they have like videos like this, just like scary videos. Um, I know there's one more I wanted to show. Let me see. Let me try to find it. I'm trying to remember which one. It was so the channel it's called True Horror Stories POV. Let me pull it up. Them too. I saw on Corey's channel when we'd watched that. So that's the channel. And recently they've been doing a lot of like behind the scenes or like backstories, that kind of thing, or real or not. I'm not so into that. I like the actual videos, like do a scary video. So I think the last one was a year ago. I don't think I've seen this one. Well, maybe I did, but I'll play this one so you'll see like what kind of videos they do. If you're interested, you can check out their channel.
Aku yang seorang tadi. Kau kat dalam. Sial. Kau nak tunggu kau tak? Man. Hei Man. Man. Asal ni problem ni. Hei, siul lah kau. Tadi kau kat dalam
Aku kat kantin ni tadi.
Kantin? Pelik ya. Sikit sikut.
Dari kantin tadi, nampak Ayub keluar.
Wah, mata mi ya bro. Feeling painful siap. Toilet sini just now siul.
Hey guys, what we gonna do tomorrow? Hey,
Tomorrow I also really cannot think Never mind lah, we just see what's happened tomorrow then just go with it lah.
Main kite pun guys. On
Sorry guys, I sleep first I cannot take it dia.
Boring.
Sorry guys.
Kata camper.
Sorry guys, I sleep first.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
Apa aku nampak tadi? Astagfirullah. Perut aku ni. Perut aku sakit dah. Aku dah pergi toilet ni.
Aku teman kau tak? Aku ni macam sikit ni.
Boleh. Okey. Thanks man. Aduh, ya Allah. Aduh, sakut pula. Sekejap. Sekejap, handphone aku. Aduh. Mana? Man. Macam mana dia ni? Naik lu, Man. Aduh. Apa hal perut aku ni? Ya Allah. Aduh. Makan ni.
Cepat sikit lah.
Man. Sorry, Man. Perut aku sakit gila lah. Tahan saat ni. Aduh.
Lambatlah kau, Dil.
Sorry. Aku tak boleh tahan lah. Man.
Pergi toilet.
Toilet?
Kau sakit perut tadi. Dil, cepat sikit lah.
Okay, sorry. Sekejap. Aduh.
So that's that one. I was going to stop that too, just in case. But if you want to check out their channel, it's True Horror Stories POV. So they got a lot of subscribers. They're doing good. I have another video. I'm going to play that. That one has like the TikToks. So again, don't know if they're true. Obviously, this one's not. This is just, a made-up thing. But the TikToks, don't know if they're true or not. I'm sure some of them are fake. But I have that. I was going to show that, and then that's about 19 minutes. So let me just try to pull that up. So let's see. Just a second. All right, let's try this. Hopefully you can hear it. This is my first time doing this.
Her daughter was sleeping on her bed when this happened. A mother by the name Ari explains that her daughter has been waking up in the middle of the night, frantically screaming in fear.
Oh my God!
What's the matter?
I just want to sleep with you now.
Saying that an evil man has been watching her sleep. Worried for her daughter's safety, she looks over the footage and finds this. What looks like a distorted face can be seen by her bed as her daughter screamed for help. Ari also captured ominous voices from her room when nobody was home. Given her daughter's explanation of this evil man and the voices captured, Ari believes her daughter's being haunted by an entity.
Gabe, it's your mom. You should come out. You've been there for so long. Gabe, come out.
Oh, that's creepy.
Gabe, it's your mother.
It's not even her.
You should come out.
Then what's your name then?
Someone or something mimicking Gabe's mother's voice can be heard calling his name from the other side of the door, and whatever it is really wants his attention as it bangs on the door with force. Then, as the door opens slightly, Gabe rushes over to it, and something can be heard growling or hissing.
Go get your dad. There it is. There's the tendrils, buddy. I don't know. Where'd your dad go? I was trying to have him come look. Because this cloud lifted. That's unbelievable. Look at that. Go get your dad. There it is. There's the tendrils, buddy. Where'd your dad go? I was trying to have him come look. Because this cloud lifted. That's
恐怖の予感が的中することになる。チョコレートケーキとか。
普通の街の。
あれって言ったって。普通のサラリーマンだよ。
そうだよね。
いや、普通のおっさんでしょ。なんか不自然だけど。だよ。
This one's weird. I don't know what happened here. I don't get that. Oh, it just stopped. Why did it stop? That's really weird. Okay, see, I knew something like this was gonna happen. See? Alright, I'm just gonna end it here, but thank you for tuning in to my first live stream. This was kind of cool. I'll do it again for sure. Hopefully you liked the stories or the videos, let me know which ones you prefer, videos or stories. But again, thank you. Have a nice 4th. If you're celebrating, be safe. You know, with the fireworks, whatever you're doing. But yeah, like I said, just be safe out there with the fireworks, driving. You know, I know it gets crazy. And that's it. Have a good night or good day wherever you are. And